So the Maestro shape is for us iconic. This is one of the last designs that Gerald Charles Genta created in his life. So it's like having one of the last Picasso paintings ever made. This means that for Gerald Charles, that only makes 1,500 pieces every year, this shape is iconic and is our number one focus. Hi Waqt, I'm Federico Ziviani and I'm CEO of our family company Gerald Charles. Dubai Watch Week has been great. It's just finished. It was a fantastic experience because the atmosphere is very friendly, is very familial, and this thanks to the great effort of the Siddiqui family, which is a family business, first of all, like ours, and they create a very laid-back atmosphere for connoisseur, where you can meet, where you can explore watches, try watches on the wrist. And this year was the first year of our participation, where we did a very important event, releasing our UAE limited edition, which unfortunately I don't have today on my wrist because apparently, for what I heard, is already sold out. It was 20 pieces and it was a chronograph, the first chronograph in sandblasted titanium, the same finishing of my skeleton, and the first chronograph in the 23 years of our history with a meteorite dial. So this was a great idea of my dear friend Mams Siddiqui, who came to me and said, we absolutely need to make a meteorite Gerald Charles, and to match the space theme, the space finishing, I want the sandblast on the case, which is 3 times more difficult, complicated and expensive than the regular one. And I said, Mams, this is a great idea, but I don't want to make just 20 pieces for you, because these pieces we could sell 250 in the world. Everybody is asking for it. But then we said, Mams, you know what? We're going to do this for you, only 20 pieces for your best collector, to celebrate our friendship, that before everything is friendship, before business. And I believe this edition in chronograph is really a fantastic, fantastic piece that marks one milestone of history for Gerald Charles today. Gerald Charles, as you know, is the last brand founded by Mr. Gerald Charles Genta, the greatest watch designer of our century. And with my family, before was my uncle that was the CEO of the company when Gerald Genta sold it in 2003, and after that he remained as designer-in-chief until 2011. So we have his last 11 years of creations, of watch drawings in our very vast archives. And since I joined the company in 2018, after my uncle Gianpaolo retired, we really established a strong values for Gerald Charles. And the 3 main values for Gerald Charles are the legacy, the craftsmanship, and the usability. So legacy, why? Because Gerald Genta is our designer, his 2 names were Gerald Charles, and this, the Maestro case, is one of his last design. So we carry a very strong legacy. The craftsmanship, why? Because all our calibers that we manufacture in Switzerland are very technologically advanced, and so they are the cases, the construction, the ergonomics. And the versatility / usability of the product is probably the most important and the dearest thing to me in the Gerald Charles watch, because this is a watch that you can wear across codes, across generations, across lifestyles. Why? Because it is waterproof, it is ultra thin, it is extremely comfortable, extremely ergonomic on the wrist, and it has this sporty, elegant feel that for us, that for my family and for every Gerald Charles watchmaker is a number 1 priority in all our watches. So Gerald Charles, of course, is based in Switzerland. We have manufacturing premises between Lugano, Geneva, and Fleurier, and this is where our watches are manufactured. So Europe is, of course, the core of our market. Italy, is namely the number one market for the brand in the world. And this is not coming as a surprise, because Italy is always a trendsetter market, is an early adopters market that then influence the entire world for new watch designs and new watch brands. The Middle East is very tightly connected with Europe. And this market is very, very important for us because of all the collectors that really understand the brand, that wear the brand, and that appreciate not only the design but also the mechanics and the versatility of the watch. So in the Middle East, we are very present. In the UAE, we are with our dear family friends, the Siddiqui family. Mams has supported us since day one with the brand and really opening up the story of Gerald Charles in the region. And beyond that, we have strong partners in Qatar with the Al Majed family, who is also friendship before business for us. In Bahrain, we are also with the Shirazi family at BJC. And in Saudi Arabia, we are with Attar, who are also great family friends. So in the region, we have a very solid presence, and it represents for us a very important market. But all of this is thanks to the local collectors who really appreciate and really support the brand. From the entry-level simple green watch, which is one of our iconic watches, up to the skeleton complication, the tourbillon complication, the gem set complication. So it is across a very different product range that the watch is very much appreciated here in the Middle East. So the Maestro shape is for us iconic. This is one of the last designs that Gerald Charles Genta created in his life. So it's like having one of the last Picasso paintings ever made. This means that for Gerald Charles, that only makes 1,500 pieces every year, this shape is iconic and is our number one focus. We have already a 2030 horizon production plan which wants to explore new complications, new materials for the Gerald Charles watch. But what is sure is that the shape, the Maestro shape, this asymmetric Baroque inspired case will stay, will remain for Gerald Charles at least until 2030 as our main and only case. So, as I said before, Gerald Charles doesn't only make entry-level automatic calibers and watches, but we also explore complications. And for us, the skeleton is one complication. Why? Even if it shows only time, but the craftsmanship behind it, the end finishing behind it, and the engineering studies to develop such an architecture which has very thin bridges and has everything that is visible throughout the dial, it's something very complicated and very advanced. So what is special about this watch? In general, about Gerald Charles skeletons, we have three in the line: the stainless steel, the titanium sandblasted, which is the novelty, and the rose gold, which is also a novelty. Across all those three, they work on the same movement caliber manufacture base that is made in Fleurier, and that is our first manufacture in-house development that we produce together with Vaucher manufacturer for certain components, for certain testing, for certain machinery. And this architecture is also our trademark, is patented, is registered by Gerald Charles in the Swiss Patent Office. And this offers a strong value for the collectors who buy the watch, because it's something protected, it's something proprietary and owned by Gerald Charles that nobody else in the world can make. So what is special here is the shape, of course, of the caliber that reflects the asymmetric shape of the case. You have the micro rotor. So this watch is an automatic watch. 90% probably of the open work skeleton that you find in the market, they are manual, because it's of course much easier to make. But us, we decided to produce this with no compromise. And so we included in the architecture the micro rotor, which powers the watch and gives it sporty usability and versatility, so you don't need to wind all the time. This was a technical challenge because of the weight of the micro rotor, which is in 22 carats rose gold. And if you look at the finishing of this micro rotor, you have brushed on the top of the honeycomb, this hexagonal geometrical pattern, and you have brushed on the lower part. And on the front, you can still see the micro rotor, meaning that you have the snail turn finishing. And that's extremely expensive to make because when you finish one side, you could damage the other side. And this is why we develop our own tooling to make this spatial finishing. Also, you see the balance wheel that is visible through the back and through the front. So also giving this motion feeling when you wear the watch on the wrist, it's something very important but more difficult to make because the more material you remove, the more the bridges are thin, the more difficult it is from an engineering point of view to make sure that the watch works, to make sure that the watch is shockproof. So 3 years of research, development, finalizing and test to get this caliber finally live. And the end work involved in this caliber is extremely, extremely heavy, and only the best of our watchmakers can engage in that. But the watch that I have on the wrist, amongst all the skeletons, is the one that has the most records in the industry. Why? Number one, you look at the case finishing, is not ceramic. It's sand-blasted titanium grade 5. Nobody does this finishing, and we developed this finishing for us to create something unique that blends especially the color tone and the resistance to scratch. So this is a watch that doesn't scratch. It's extremely tough. Second record in this watch is the left crown. You may have noticed. If you bend your wrist, you don't have the crown that damages your hand. And this why? Because we are very tightly connected with tennis, and we have our tennis player, Uber Turkic, today is number 9 in the world, so in the top 10, who wears this watch during the game. So this was a technical development tested with a professional ATP top tennis player, and nobody in the industry does that. And all of this combined with an automatic caliber and an ultra-thin case below 8 millimeters, which ensures nevertheless waterproof to 100 meters. So here in this watch you get the full package of all the things you may find in other top quality watches, but all together you don't find them anywhere else. And this is what makes this watch today on my wrist one of the most special watches that for me are today in the watch industry. So waterproof is something present in every Gerald Charles watch, no matter the complication, from the entry level, green dial, to the skeleton and tourbillon and the gold pieces. So it is extremely complicated to ensure that an asymmetric case shape, like that of Gerald Charles, with all those angles that enter, it's still waterproof to 100 meters. And to make this, we had to develop our own proprietary case construction with a patented gasket, with a screw-down crown system, and with a proprietary construction, as I said, that allows the glass, the bezel, the case body to sit together in a way that no water can slip in, even in the angles where the pressure is 3 times that of the flat sides. So to make waterproof a circular round glass, it's much more easy because the pressure is evenly distributed across the circle. When you make waterproof an asymmetrical shape like this one, the pressure in the corners is amplified because it converges. And this means that you need to ensure a much higher waterproofness in certain positions rather than you should have on the round circular. So we're very proud of this achievement that for us was number 1 priority because of the versatility of the Gerald Charles watches that needs to be a number 1 element throughout the collection.